Hey, so I recently did a Free Your Sexuality mini course, okay? And it did scare me a little bit because I was asking people to think through the rules they live to in terms of their sexuality. Hey, I'm Rosemary Nonny Knight. And people do get scared when their foundations are getting shaken, and scared people can lash out at the messenger. Or is that my imagination playing tricks on me? Well, so far it's been okay actually, so it's not too bad. The chances are that the ones who did sign up for the mini course are more honest and open than the ones who pretend to have it all together. And so they're open to being challenged and therefore open to more freedom and less likely to hurt the messenger. Whereas the ones who pretend, now those, oh yes, those are the ones that are likely to talk nonsense and, criticize you for doing all kinds of stuff. They don't want to do anything to challenge their way of thinking, because if they don't have this foundation on which they've built their life, then what do they have? It gets frightening to start changing the foundations when the whole house falls down, and so they lash out at you. But what if you get to the end of an unexamined life, and you realize that it was all just a guilt, shame, and fear fest? You know, that kept you really from creating the prosperous, blessed life you desire. Okay? Is it all real, or is it just you and your guilt, your shames, your fears? What if you spend your whole life avoiding the hard questions, only to find out that they were not hard at all? That the only reason you thought they were hard is because you were conditioned to think so. Conditioned by your parents, who were conditioned by their parents, and random cultural nonsense passed down from who knows when, started by some person who confused themselves, basically, and then decided to set out meaningless rules and traditions to make them feel safe. It may have worked back then, years and years ago, but now it's just plain stifling. And yet, if you don't question it, the traditions continue on from generation to generation, leading to very small lives. Sometimes it works, but maybe these rules are just not working for you. But you're too scared to question it. You don't know what is on the other side. It may be worse than what you're experiencing right now. And so you keep the peace. You stay silent on the questions that bug the hell out of you. And you try to tell yourself that you can be happy living with so many unanswered questions, so much fear, guilt, shame about the things you want to explore. But the rules say you can't explore those things, and you don't want to question the rules, right? And so you condemn yourself to a very small, bound up and chained life. Isn't it time to explore freedom? Freedom from cultural and traditional rules that bind you up and keep you in the tribe, unhappy, unfulfilled, and yet silent. Scared that you'll be alone if you question the family, and so you go along with it all, no matter how frustrating it is. Freedom from religious rules made by people just like you, because be honest, when last did you really take your question straight to source or spirit or higher power, whatever you want to call it? Most people just assume that because they've been taught a certain set of rules since, well, forever, then it must mean that God also agrees with those rules. But supposing he's waiting for you to find the courage to actually question this stuff. In the context of creating a life of freedom and wealth, I feel it's imperative that these cultural and religious rules be questioned, because too many spiritual people are held back and prevented from prospering by the very rules that are touted as the rules of a great free life. But be honest, is your life great? Do you feel free, really? Or are you going through life trying to stifle any desires that seem to go against what you're supposed to feel? And then telling yourself that this must be how a great life feels, even though inside of you, in the deeper part of you, you know you're deluding yourself. But instead of facing these questions head on, you feel guilty and shameful for having these thoughts. You feel that God is out to get you and punish you. You think that you will miss out on eternity in heaven if you allow yourself to look at new ideas. You forget that you are completely loved and that truth can stand up to scrutiny. The truth is, it does take emotional strength to start this self-examination that leads to freedom, and most people are not willing to do this work, even if it means that they will be free. The comfort zone, the known zone, is way too inviting, which I sometimes think is how most people are controlled. They want to stay safe, so they don't question anything. But for us, the Mavericks, there's a part of us that simply knows something is wrong with these rules that we've caved under, and we're ready to break free, okay? We want a big, expansive life, and all these rules seem to keep us stuck in a place of weakness. Yes, it is scary to talk about some of this stuff out loud with people who have placed us in a box and want us to stay there to keep themselves comfortable in their choices, but we are done with that. We want more. Let me help you. Let me create a space for you to explore what freedom really means for you, with no judgment, no fear, no need to be guilty or ashamed. I want you to be free to create a prosperous, blessed life, because I know it is your birthright as well as mine. And I know that the world will be healed by 334,000 Mavericks living free and abundant lives. Is it time to start questioning the rules you've lived to? check out DM Gold Plus. It's at rosemarynonny9.com/DM Gold. This may be exactly what you need. Or you can reach out to me personally at m.me/rosemarynonny9. m.me/rosemarynonny9 to see how I can personally support you in choosing freedom and abundance. Please be detailed in your inquiry. What stirs you up? Okay, what stirs up for you as you listen to this? What do you want to work on? And please, genuine inquiries only. It's time to fight for and to deliberately design the life you're born to live because you want to. Until the next time.